So welcome to another episode of the Leadership Espresso Podcast. And I feel privileged and I feel happy. And it's such a pleasure to have Rúna Bouius on the show. Actually, I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly. She is a serial entrepreneur from Iceland. So hi, Rúna. Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Stefan. Great to be with you.
Rúna, let's jump right into it. As we spoke about it, these times, in COVID times, it reveals also a lot of fears in us, right?
Yes.
And all leaders' fears. And there are different kind of fears. There is the fear of failing, the fear of being rejected, and even the fear of success.
Yes.
Now, we all know the fear doesn't come from playing great. The fear comes from playing small, which is usually the ego way of dealing with us. Right. Now, what is your experience about playing great or playing small?
Well, when I was still living in Iceland and after 20 years of being in business there, I thought I was playing fine. I had been playing great from where I had been, but then I realized that there was something more. There could be even more greatness. And that catapulted me to really look for what can I do to really fulfill my deeper potential.
Rúna, and I want to add, at the time you were already amazingly successful. So
yes.
The question didn't come from failure. The question came from, what am I going to do with that now?
Well, the question I asked myself was, is this all there is to life? And yes, I had built a very successful company in Iceland. I had a fabulous team. I had a fabulous work culture, fabulous clients, suppliers, and everything you could think of. I had a marriage. I had two beautiful children, a wonderful home in Reykjavik. So I had everything you could think of that you could dream of. But still, I felt there was something missing. And I realized that, when I was an entrepreneur, not knowing anything or just starting from scratch, it was fun and exciting, and I was full of passion. I was helping people, and I had to figure things out. I had to figure out how to do these things. And then I realized after 20 years, now that I had some handle on it, I had given authority and power to people. I had my team, things were functioning really well. It wasn't so exciting anymore. So I realized there was something more. And that's why I was asking the question, is there more to life? And my answer was yes. I just didn't know what it was. But I decided, to find out.
Yeah, that's the kind of experience many people, many leaders have these days. They ask, that's it? Or what else? Or what's coming up? It's the uncertainty. So how did you deal with that?
Well, I was facing uncertainty on so many levels. So I decided myself to sell my business. That was a conscious choice. At the same time, my husband, my Dutch husband, had been ill for a while, and he passed away. So I found myself in, like so many people today, in a completely different scenario from where I had been a few months earlier, where my identity was kind of gone. Being a wife was gone, being a business owner was gone. And in a way, what I kept was being a mom.
That sounds like a very sudden change.
It was a sudden change. And but I decided, I remember working with a therapist at the time, and he asked me, do you want to be a grieving widow for the next 10 years or what? And it took just a nanosecond.
That's more of a provocative style.
Right. And I just decided there and then, no, I'm going to live life. That's what my husband would have liked me to do. And now I started to look at the potential I had. I wasn't burdened by running a company anymore. I was kind of free. I had sold my business, so I had some funds. So I could go on adventure, and I could go for finding the answer to this question. What if there is more to life? What is that for me? And that's what I did.
So how did this journey work? Like, what were your steps? Was it an outer journey or an inward journey, or both?
Both. I think we can't do any of these things without the inner journey, because, as you said, fear comes up when we step out of our comfort zone. In this case, my native country, my friends and family, my co-workers of many years, my society. I choose to step out of that by literally packing my bags and taking my 2 sons with me to the US. So that was quite a drastic step to do. But I did that because I had started to study with my mentors, 2 of my mentors, and they invited me to come over to the US. First, just for taking a break and allowing myself to grieve in a way. And I was doing some training with them as well. And while I was doing that, it just came clear that I wanted to move here. I knew I had wanted to move away from Iceland because it had become too small for me, but it ended up being Santa Fe, New Mexico, which had not been a plan. It's just following, in a way, it's following what feels right.
A lot of Americans would say that New Mexico wasn't my first choice.
I know. But it was a great place for me because I had to go through a healing process, and I had to do this internal transformation. And I used Santa Fe as a safe place for the family while I was doing that.
Yeah, and maybe you help us understand what was the healing journey around. How did you deal with the fears that came up once you decided to leave your comfort zone?
Well, they didn't come all together in the beginning because I was more excited than fearful leaving Iceland. But
not too bad as a start.
but they came later on. They came when, we were settling down, and, I didn't have a green card in the beginning. Will I get a green card? That was a process that took years and years and years. And that's a very vulnerable place to be in, knowing that you are building a new life and your children are having to adapt to a new society and new friends and new schools, and all of a sudden maybe have to be taken away from that again. They had gone through so much, losing their dad, their country, family, friends, and everything. So that was for a while a really big challenge for me. And then, how do I take care of myself now that I'm not a business owner? How do I make a living in the US? And of course, the green card was the first step to that. But then also, what will I do? How will I make a living? What is the answer to that question I was looking for? Maybe stepping into more greatness. So what does that mean for me? And what I knew was that I wanted to go back to business and help leaders, going through difficulties and challenges and changes, just like I was going through. But what I didn't know when, where, or how. But the only thing I knew in the beginning was that I had to start with myself.
Right. Now, when you start with yourself, what was the major question kind of driving your inward journey?
The universal questions humankind has been asking themselves for centuries.
Someone knocking at your door and asking, Rúna, why are you here on this planet for the first
Exactly.
place?
Who are you?
And who are you, right?
That's right. I was so lucky to find teachers in Santa Fe that really guided me through the process. And I just stepped in very free willingly and dedicated a lot of time and energy and effort in being a diligent student. They would give me assignments and I would take them on and I would move through them. One of my teachers was a Native American teacher. I worked with another teacher who put you out into nature. And then my mentors who brought me to the US, a psychologist and also shamanic teachers. So I went through all kinds of training with these people. And as you say, these questions were kind of the foundational questions. And then starting to cultivate awareness, I'd never thought of that before. What is it I need to be aware of? And realizing, okay, I need to be aware of my thoughts and how I'm feeling and what's happening in my body. I need to be aware of what story I'm telling myself. And that's where the fear comes up. The fear usually can be seen in the stories that we tell ourselves. And then learning to shift the story and maybe reframe.
What's your story, Rúna?
We have
telling?
Well, being one of the stories I had was that, I'm too small for the US. I don't have a PhD. I don't have an Ivy League education from here. I don't have, a group of friends and college students and college friends and we could say a network. I don't have a network. So how am I going to put myself out there?
So how did you shift telling this story? How did you shift it, maybe telling another story?
It took a long while, but I started to listen to people's feedback and listen to how people perceived me and realize that they sometimes perceived me very differently from what I did. So I realized that there might be a little bit more to me, even though I came from a little Iceland, and maybe something worth bringing from Iceland to the US.
Just talking about a little Iceland, there was once, about 10 years ago or so, there was one volcano that erupted.
That's right.
I can't even pronounce the name. You probably can. But this little volcano kept 2/3 of the planet busy and all planes grounded.
That's right.
It may not be so small, this place, and you are so small. So how did you get in touch with your greatness to kind of sum up, to finish up for today?
Well, let's just say it's taken years. And let's just say it's a process. But I committed to the process. And for me, it's an ongoing process. I feel we are never a finished product. I think there's always more that we can unleash. So that's really just, for me, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of life, endlessly wanting to be learning and growing and expanding and looking for more blind spots and looking for more stories that are not working for me anymore and creating new stories.
So what is the story that you're telling right now?
So I'm telling myself the story that I can, like everyone else, contribute to creating a better future for my children and our children and grandchildren and the next generation and beyond. That's the story I'm telling myself.
Awesome. And it really, it's an inspiring story because it's inspiring greatness and it's inspiring for true power that comes from within, from who you are.
That's right.
It's contributing to the benefit of all.
Yes.
So really, thank you so much for sharing your journey up until now. And we'll keep you, we'll track you probably in a year's time from now. We talk to you again and see how this may even expand further on. And Rúna, it's been such a pleasure and privilege having you on the show. Thank you so much. And thank you for keeping going on and showing everybody around us that, continuously expanding is possible.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun. And please do knock on my door in a year or 2 or 5, whatever.
Absolutely. And this is called Leadership Espresso, just to finish up. Be inspired, Rúna.
I don't have coffee, I have water.
Even better. Take care and talk to you in a year's time.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Beautiful.